There we are. Beautiful. Hopefully that doesn't fuck up. Oh shit, I can hear myself. Oh no! Oh shit. I can hear myself. Oh dear. Echo. I don't expect anyone to watch this one, but, you know, I want to play some of this game. It's been a while. And by while, I mean like a long time. And I'm excited for the new one. Easiest game of all time. If anyone doesn't know what this game is and you want to, I will explain it. But until then, I'm just gonna zone in. I've played this game maybe way too many times. Turn the sound down a bit. Mostly from my end. I'm not sure if it's fine for everyone else. Probably just gonna use games like this just to talk about like stupid nonsense that goes through my dumb brain. It's pretty much what I do with my time anyway. Oops. Whoops. Whoops. Dude, I wish fucking Callum wasn't gone every single weekend. This kid is like actually like a madman. I've explained it on Discord a lot of times, but to anyone new, he's got this insane amount of obligations. He goes to all these camps and stuff. It's like one camp, I understand. Two, alright, maybe a bit of a stretch, but he maybe need to fill some more time. But he's got like, I think more than one, and then like a bunch of other, I don't even know what a lot of it is. It's mostly just nature stuff. He collars birds or something like that. Bands, I guess. I don't think you can really collar a bird, can you? That sounds both difficult and unethical. You probably could, I mean, if you tried. Really, really anything is possible. Cool voice cracks, by the way. Those never fucking happened when I talk to people normally. It's just when I try to talk quietly. So, like, not screaming. Then they happen all the time. And it sucks real bad, because I can't yell into this microphone. That would be horribly annoying. Maybe not. Some people like screaming for some reason. That I've never understood. There's people who... Like, I don't mean to throw shade, because everyone's got a job to do. But there's a lot of, like, mostly YouTubers who get endless entertainment from people by just screaming really loudly and nothing else. I think it's super annoying, and there's a lot of people who rely on the same strategy because they think it's funny. Which is fine, but it's also like... Just make sure you're wearing headphones if you're watching them. Oh, god damn it. If you've watched any of the other streams, this fucking kid who sits in my brother's room, who's technically my stepbrother, has a chronic problem of not using headphones for anything. Which is even, it was fine normally for me because I never heard it, but now it's really bad because I stream with my brother a lot for Risk of Rain. But this motherfucker just playing his friends' voices and stuff out into the room. And that must be nightmarish for the actual people in that room. It's like he has headphones. It's not that difficult. You could easily just, like, even if you just turn the volume down a little bit, because it's, like, louder than he is, and he's loud. I'll tell you that much. It's like a contingent of people who exist purely to make, like, a lot of noise. I respect people enjoying themselves, because God knows I can't fucking do that, but, you know, I would prefer... I'd prefer if they maybe, you know, kept it to themselves a little bit more. I'm not even really, like, asking for people to just be quiet. Because that's a little bit like, okay, fucking ancient 30,000-year-old mummy from the depths of a tomb. We'll be quiet for you. But, like, I don't know why this is so hard. What have I done wrong? I would just really prefer if people would keep it to themselves sometimes. It's mostly, it's especially bad in, like, class. I'm trying to listen to people talk. People who are a lot more important than you. And it's always, like, it's mostly, like, teenage girls will talk about, like, Snapchat shit. And that's not even me being, like, stereotypical. I sit in English with 3 other girls. They're, like, the most possibly generic, like, blonde, brand female human being with an iPhone, because fucking of course. I actually have a funny bit about that as well, but nothing they talk about has any bearing on anything, like, the teacher is saying. So they're just, like, I'm trying to focus on 2 things already, because I usually draw while I'm listening to people, because I get horribly bored if I just sit there and listen. So I gotta, you know, do something at the same time. And these, nothing they have to say is important. Especially not when they're actually trying to do the work. So maybe it is better that they just don't listen. We had an assignment, not today, it was yesterday, I think, where it was a writing prompt, and we had to think of a piece of technology we use every day and how we use it. Literally, my first thought was like, fucking everyone's gonna go for iPhone. Or phone. Because everyone in my class is, well, I mean, obviously young people, but they're also probably stupid. Because I'm in, like, a normal English class. Not that I think everyone around me is stupid, as much as it sounds like I said that, but the average person, when they think of technology, goes, oh, phone. Tablet. Easy. I went with, you know, I wrote, like, a smug article about how you can technically use stores as various pieces of technology. Mostly because I wanted to pretend to be above everyone else. But every single one of them picked phone, and I was able to fill a full page with, like, I mean, obviously it was mostly sarcasm and all that, but I was able to fill a full page with information just about, you know, flat wooden things with knobs on them. And these fucking massive IQ gamers couldn't come up with shit for a phone. What do you do with it all day? You're not doing anything else. I'll tell you that much. Even as they were trying to think of something, one of them would pull out their phone and go on Snapchat, and I had to resist going, like, fucking right there, you've got it. That's the answer to the question. Write it down. I'm not even, like, I'm a very I'm an extremely anti-school kind of person. But some people are just, like, extra levels of dumb. Now, let's be fair. I'm pretty dumb. I do some dumb shit. And I am usually unaware of a lot of normal people things. But there's a lot of normal people things that I do know about. And most of those things are not hard. some people get real smug about it too. It's like, I often have moments where I like don't know something obvious. We had a moment like that in the Discord the other day, where I didn't know what the fuck the Galapagos Islands were. Like, I fucking obviously, like, why am I supposed to know what that is? That's not the point, though. The point is mostly that. People get real smug about it, like, how did you not know about that, dude? People do it with a lot of events as well, right after they happen, as if every event is viral, no matter what it is. It's super infuriating, because it's like, if it's something really obvious, like, so obvious and crucial to people's lives that they should probably know what it is, then I'll hand it to you. But that almost never happens. When it's something like fucking islands that I've never heard of, that have a significance to people that aren't me, I guess it's significant to evolution or something like that. I'm not evolution or a scientist studying it. Why do I care? So people get smug about it. It's like, you don't know what that is? Of course I don't know what that is. Why do you know what that is? I'm not passionate about islands, so I have no other reason to know what they are. The only thing that they can come up with in response to is like, oh, it's common sense. What the fuck does that mean, though? Is it just things that lots of people know? Why does that make it sense? Tell you what, a lot of common sense doesn't make any sense. That's obviously like the easiest smug contrarian thing you can ever say. But it's also like a little bit true. HUD reminds me of Diablo 2 one. This game is Gemcraft Chapter 2. Sorry, I didn't see chat. This is Gemcraft Chapter 2. It's a game that I've been following. I've owned it for a while. In short, you make little crystals that shoot the enemies, and you have to make sure the enemies die before they touch your shit and kill you. You can get it on Steam for some like $20. It's called Gemcraft Chapter 2 Chasing Shadows. It's got a really long, horrible title. I'm playing it mostly because its sequel is coming out Q4 this year, which is soon. And I'm highly anticipating it because I love this series. Oh shit. Also, I've never seen Diablo 2. I don't know what that is. Well, I know what that is. I just don't know. I've not seen it. So I don't know what the HUD looks like. Anyway, what was I saying? What was my story that I was telling before that? I actually have no idea. I've forgotten. Alright, I was talking about people who can't make use of a fucking iPhone. The iPhone versus Samsung debate has slowly become less and less of any meaning to me, as I've realized that it basically doesn't matter because every company sucks. I'm still gonna buy Samsung because it's cheaper, because there's no difference. But in a way, I wish I bought iPhones, because iPhone owners get to be extra smug because they paid more money for it, and there's an implication that they're better off. If your reasoning for buying a phone is like, oh, it's cheaper, people like to make the assertion that it's because you're poorer, which is obviously like, I'm being a little hyperbolic. LG is that a phone brand? I'm obviously being a little hyperbolic. People don't just call you poor for not buying a overpriced phone. But the undertone is there. Especially with like like iPhone supremacists who are super into Apple for some reason. Alright. I had my LG for 4 years and it was fine. Yeah, my phone is like, my Samsung right now is like ancient, pretty much. It's all cracked and all that, but it still does every part of its job flawlessly. So I'll basically not need a new one for a long time. I might not be doing this right. There's always been a weird, like, whenever there's two different brands of something, it's always gonna become like, oh, which one is better? Did I pick the better one, or was it you? Because it was probably me, and that's obviously where the problems come in. Because everyone wants to be the one who picked the right one. We're talking about expensive technology. These smug motherfuckers who think that phones aren't expensive are probably adults and have jobs, like real ones. But also, like, just because you can afford something doesn't mean it's not expensive. It's like $200 is pretty cheap for the power a phone has. But like $1,000 for a phone, that's not fucking cheap for anybody except for crazy rich people who go on TV shows for fun. That's like lunacy. I don't know how to do this level. What am I doing wrong here? But yeah, some people will get really uppity about it. I do too a little bit, but mostly because I hate being, you know, I don't like admitting I'm wrong. But then again, who does? People who willingly admit they're wrong, like immediately. That's like hero. It's a strength that nobody has, but everybody needs. Except then there's a lot of smug pricks as well, and I notice that a lot of people that I talk to are smug, but I mostly think it's because it's partially me projecting onto them. But it's also partially because a lot of people around me are assholes. I can't see my fucking keyboard, so I keep hitting the wrong hotkeys. I just think people need to sort of, like, stop shitting on good qualities. Because people will admit they're wrong, and then the other person will get all smug about winning. When they really just lost by doing that. You've immediately stepped into the territory of like, oh, I'm the shittier person in this entire ordeal because I've just suddenly turned it into a show. I could easily be, you know, letting it go now, but I have to parade my victory, despite the fact that I've taken probably the shittier steps in this situation. Although that's probably just because I'm like 9,000 years old at heart. And I want everything to be straightforward. Everything would be like nice and simple if it was all straightforward. Do thing, and if you do thing well enough, X thing happens. But then again, I think a lot of people would be pissed if that was the case, because a lot of people don't know how to do X thing good enough. And also just because it would be a little monotonous for some people. I'm the kind of person who's like, I'll follow instructions for a million years if it means that I get my treat at the end. If I get to just like, here, do 5 of these horribly boring math assignments, and I'll give you like $5. Easiest shit of all time. Math is shitty, but you know, it's mostly just instruction following. But when it comes to like... Sorry, I'm a little lost. I'm new to trying to carry... This is a new... It's a... You can't really notice it from an external perspective, but I'm trying to do a new commentary format where it's basically not about the game, because I don't know how to talk about this game. My brain runs through it at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. I need to play a game I'm not familiar with to talk over it and have it be relevant, because I basically autopilot on a lot of games. I'm trying to have a conversation, sort of, which is probably no one likes. comparatively, but, you know, is fun to learn to do. And it's more chill style, instead of yelling about a game. Where even was I? Right, I would greatly prefer if everything was just follow these instructions that I've clearly laid out for you. Everything else I'll take care of. Be the greatest shit of all time. But obviously that's not how that works. And really, that shouldn't be how it works. Because people who function purely on instruction following are not pushing the envelope. We need there to be room for a new sort of system. Like figuring out how to beat this level. Stream delay is a bit large, I think. But yeah, there's always got to be people, and I know that everyone kind of wants to be this person. I don't really, because I think it's a lot of work. But everyone wants to be the one to push shit forward. There's got to be room for that to happen. If everything was like, do X, and then you've completed X, you can move on. There wouldn't be any room for that. That's partly also the reason that that doesn't happen, is because there's room for that. Because people have the power to change things. We can't keep a rigid system. Which again, is probably a good thing, because a lot of people would fucking hate having to just follow instructions. It's literally just that Microsoft slave mines joke, but real kind of, but probably less apocalyptic. Like, it would probably be a better functioning world, it's just that people would hate it. Which is arguably, I guess, more important. I know for me, when it comes to, like, saying whether or not I prefer people's enjoyment over functionality, obviously people's enjoyment, because that's my enjoyment I'm sacrificing. But if I were to think of it from the perspective of, like, an onlooker, it's probably, enjoyment is kind of, it's actually a weird thing, because no matter how well a society functions, there's not really a point to it existing at all, besides, people being there. So, what is one that functions perfectly if nobody likes it? This got really, smug and philosophical real quick, but I'm just jumping from point to point, essentially. Basically what I'm saying is that there's no reason for Quebec, Canada to exist, because it functions well, but nobody likes it. We live in a society, basically. You got that right. I think that we live in a society meme has actually, ruined people's ability to say things about society. Because now it always sounds like you're, being a dick when you say it. When there's valid complaints to be made. I think, anyway. Probably not to a lot of people. And those people are probably 900 years old. To be fair, it is a funny meme. I'll give you that. But I think it's hurt discourse a bit. It's a little fucked up that funny jokes kill aspects of discourse. Because that's like a powerful, that's a powerful card to give to, pretty much anyone who can make a good meme. The flip side, though, is that basically no one knows how to do that reliably. There has to have been someone in government somewhere, probably in Russia, who's like, we have to figure out how to harness memes. Because there was that whole, for us, as silly and goofy as a lot of memes are, they've done a lot of, they have a lot of pulling power in terms of influence. Meme propaganda. Yeah, exactly. Imagine how popular. Imagine how powerful, sorry, a good propaganda meme would be. You'd win anything. What the fuck is this shit? But yeah, there has to have been someone who's sitting down at a table right now and is like, we have to fucking discover how this works. And then they'll go on 4chan, like that Internet Historian video, they'll go on 4chan and post the meme a couple times and see if the iterations start to come out. And nothing comes out because that's not how memes work. Do you know that's happened? It has to have. At least once. Or I'm going to be real disappointed in the world. Fuck off, please. There's a good chance they actually have, to be honest, but it didn't pan out. Because fucking, like, obviously, what are you talking about? Ooh. Thank you, Farbjodor? Farbjodor? I don't know how to say that. I hope you appreciate the attempt. One day humans will only use memes to communicate. Yo. That will be the ideal society. Reddit will be gods at that point. Actually, that sounds like the worst society. Never mind, I go back. Dude, the day any Redditors get power is the day that we all fucking die. It's not that, like, Reddit is a bad website, necessarily. It's just got that sort of fringe audience. Reddit would literally be the Bible and dictionary. Yeah, exactly. It's just got that fringe audience who's got really strong militant opinions. And they're internet users, so they fight a lot. So it would just be... It would basically just, the whole world would be different variants of the United States. Which is maybe the worst possible scenario, except besides, I guess, maybe North Korea. But even then, at least there's some semblance of order. And yes, I am saying that North Korea might be better than the United States. What are you gonna do about it, commie? Whenever someone says internet user, I think of it like a stand user. Is there not an internet-related JoJo knockoff yet, where they're totally not a stand powers are based on internet shit? If you stream Minecraft at a different time, we'll join, but now it's 4, about time I go to sleep. Yeah, that's fair. I'll be streaming this in the future, and I'll be streaming the new one right as it comes out until I finish it, so don't worry about that. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Basement Crusaders. Thanks for dropping by anyway. Wow, so many people have this direct relief charity thing. It's like a lot more than I expected. It's like I don't see it in anyone else's chat. Well, I do, but I don't see it very much. Maybe I just attract charitable people. Try to log into Twitter one day and your password's been changed. This must be the work of an enemy internet. That joke was fucking terrible, but I tried. Wait, alright, the idea is formulating. What if you made a show, like an anime type thing? It has to be an anime because it's the only one that would make this concept work. About the world if every popular internet site was a giant corporation, and its users were the people running it. So, you know, Reddit would be this mega corporation that practically owns a country, and it's run by the average Reddit user. And then we can reenact shit like 4chan versus Tumblr, but in full-scale warfare. And also make fun of everybody because I use the superior platform Discord exclusively. There's a lot of mileage in that show, but you'd only be able to make like a movie out of it. You can't make a full season out of that. You could try, but it wouldn't be very good. The jokes are too thin. I think a lot of people look down on joke concept shows and movies. Not necessarily for bad reason either. Because they're kind of, you know, it's inherently kind of a stupid thing. You're trying to make an entire show out of a concept that, you know, is a joke. It would have to be a really good joke for you to get a full movie or season worth of mileage out of it. So people are going to look at that and go, what the fuck are you doing? So literally any movie that Jerry Seinfeld ever is in the future is going to have that problem. That man might have ruined his career by making B-movie. Not one person under the age of, like, 20 who has seen that movie will be able to take him seriously anymore. Because they'll just see this smug B. I have a shitty sense of humor. I'm still laughing at Cockroach. No, I watched the clip back, like, before I started this stream, and it is still funny. Might actually be the funniest bit I've ever had on the stream, which makes me upset because it's a stolen meme. It's easily better than anything that happened during TF2, and that's saying something. TF2 is like a weird game for streaming. I was gonna stream it now, like instead of this, but I wanted to pick a game that I could be like, you know, I could play like a high-octane Nightmare Fuel game, or I could just play something, you know, calm. So I chose this, a game where there's 900 sound effects a second. But the point is, you know, what is the point? Simpsons Hit and Run. The point is that that game is hectic as fuck. And my brain melts after playing it for like maybe 10 minutes. It's got a similar problem though to what I was saying about SCP-SL and randos and TTT. Is that there's like a good chance you get shitty players too. In TF2 they're pretty tolerable as long as they're like not so trash they throw your team. But sometimes you do have to carry the bit yourself anyway, because there's nobody funny in chat or nobody with funny names, which is really the only like thing that still draws me to that game over a lot of other stuff. Like, it's good, but I could also be playing like anything else basically. I feel bad for any media designer pretty much. I mean, I intend to be one myself, and so I mostly feel bad for me, But I feel bad for media designers because they have to compete with so much shit now. Not even like other games and media, other things that are the same thing. It's like, I could make an original game here, but that takes effort, so I could also just make another Overwatch clone. And inadvertently force both that and all of its previous clones to compete with yet another clone for the time of a limited sum of people, when they're probably going to stick to the first one anyway. In a way, though, it makes you appreciate really good stuff more, because there's an ocean of trash that you have to dig through to get it. I come off as extremely pessimistic and contrarian, but I do really like pretty much all media, except K-pop. And rap, mostly. Media is just a good time. It's really what makes me think I was born in the exact right generation. Not so far into the future that I have to work on the Microsoft slave mines. Not so far back in the future that I didn't get to be around for the VR chat, that whole nightmare. And by nightmare, I mean probably the best sequence of time for the internet ever. Cringe at that main meme all you want. It was probably the funniest thing in the world when it was, like, first coming up. Like, even I don't find it funny now. But I remember being in voice call with Miko when he first discovered it. And it was fucking... probably some of the best time I've ever spent in a voice chat. Maybe second to the time that I got everyone to say bruh in GDC at once. But that's mostly because it's on my YouTube channel now and I get to flaunt it at people. I was thinking about food earlier today. Because I was eating my third serving of KFC popcorn chicken. I got a whole bucket yesterday. It was, you know, more or less a birthday dinner. I was given an option to pick whatever I wanted. Obviously, I went with fucking the greatest chicken on my entire city. Probably contestable by many. It is good food. See, this guy understands. And I was thinking about food. Mostly because I'm the skinniest person I know, but I'm fat at heart. I like food. I like unhealthy food. And I eat a lot of it. But I just have this tiny stomach and an unbelievable metabolism. You are also the skinniest person I know. See? I'm tiny. Which can be a good thing sometimes, but like, it's mostly just sucks. People in the middle ground never understand how good they have it. Because there's always, you know, self-loathing that gets in the way. Oh, I'm too fat, or you know, or oh, I'm too skinny. But people who have it in the middle, who have just enough meat to be meaty, but aren't fat, actually have the best bodies in the world. For so many reasons, too. You've got enough on you to protect yourself against temperature. You've got little enough that you can still, you know, articulate easily and move around and exercise. You've got enough that you can store a lot of food, so you can, you know, you can act fat if you want to, without actually being it. You've got everything. And I think it's the best body type. You know, a slight amount of meat. Mostly just out of preference, but I also just think you know, there's a level of... I have extremely high metabolism, and I'm exactly what you just described. Well, there you go. Uh-oh, stream buffer. Yeah, I'm dropping frames again. I don't know what the fuck is happening today. This happens a lot. Wow, look at that frames. I'm watching it now. Look at those frames. Oh, it's horrible. Ugh. Holy shit, it's still happening. I might have to end early. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If it keeps going red, I'll end early. Just because I don't want this to be, like, the standard. I'll finish up what I was saying. There's a very special kind of, like, equilibrium in medium meat people. You've got the good balance. You've got a good look, usually. I think it looks pretty good. You know, you're nice and rounded. And I'm saying this for both males and females. I hold basically the same standard for both. Because my favorite males look like girls anyway. You know, I just think having a nice, you know, soft exterior is beneficial. For a number of reasons. I think being skinny has its advantages too. The worst is obviously being fat. And more power to people who are and are trying to get out of it. Here's the problem though. I fucking hate people who are like super overconfident in being fat. If you're like genetically overweight, more power to you. That's just who you are and you can embrace that. If you're you just eat too much and you don't exercise and you're still trying to actively be proud of it as an excuse to not exercise, I think you're missing the point a little bit. I would be pretty offended if I was fat. Because pretty much nobody wants to be. You can be, you know, satisfied with it, but nobody would actively be like, I would rather be fat than anything else. I mean, there probably is, but those people are out of their goddamn minds. I mean, people can prefer whatever they want, really. But that's not going to stop me from judging them. I think people who are like, you should never judge anyone, are stupid. Because, first of all, you do it naturally. You look at someone, you think, oh, this person, you know, you make some assessments. You look at their stance, you know, their body language. You're judging them. You're judging what they're doing right now to figure out sort of how you can approach a conversation, how you can approach them in general, if they're dangerous. You know, and a lot of times in that phase, people go like, oh, this person is... they've got an angry face. They might hurt me if I get too close to them. That kind of thing. You can't really tell people not to do that. Because it's not like people aren't projecting. People have personalities. And, like, a vast majority of human beings on this earth, even if they don't actively do it or enjoy it, they're projecting who they are through everything they do. Through the way you walk, and the way you stand, and the way you look at people. You're showing off who you are. And I think, you know, if you decide that you look at someone and you think their demeanor is, you know, too intense or, you know, threatening, I think you're well within your rights to say, I don't necessarily want to talk to this person. And I'm judging based on what I'm seeing here. Judgment based on anything predisposed is probably, you know, you can discourage that. Because that's just not fair. If someone says something, you know, stupid, you can judge them. If someone else said something that they said was stupid, you might want to give them a chance to, you know, show off who they are first, and then you pass judgment based on what happened previously. It's all too easy to just believe something someone says about someone else. Because everyone knows that people lie about each other. But it's so much more fun to just assume that everyone's telling the truth. Because I fucking hate... well, I hate liars. And not because I hate being lied to. I just hate the fact that I have to like, fact check everything people say now. Especially because I'm friends with a bunch of dicks who do that all the time. They'll intentionally, because they know I'm unaware of a lot of normal things, so they'll intentionally say something dumb, and I'll be like, "Oh, really?" And then they'll go along with it for a little bit. So now I have to fact check fucking everything they say. A lot of bits in this stream have been, oh god damn it. A lot of bits in this stream have been about just how dumb I am. But it's sort of the centerpiece of my existence. It's the fact that I'm not a particularly clever human being. I think, you know, I like to hope, and about how dumb other people are. Yeah, but that's also because other people are dumber, usually. Listen, for all my talking about judging people, I judge people a lot, and I think a lot of people are stupid. Until this whole conspiracy craze wears off, I think everybody around me is stupid. Especially people who fucking tell me that the Galapagos Islands are supposed to be common sense. Because that's lunacy. I'm done for tonight. It was nice to have a nice chill stream. Thank you for sticking around, Pep, and the other one viewer who was here the whole time. It's nice to just sort of sit down and talk. This would probably be better as like a video format than a stream format. It's less exciting. People are less interested. But I do like having a time to just sit down and, you know, talk about anecdotes. It's a format that I like doing, but I can't do when I'm playing with other people or playing something high octane. And I want to get better at it. I want to learn to be able to pivot off of bits, go into different topics, talk about stupid opinions. Because I like watching that kind of content. And I know that there's a lot of finesse and skill that goes into that. Because you gotta have a lot of ammunition, you gotta talk about stuff for a long period of time, basically. It's harder than it sounds. You gotta make that conversation interesting to people, which is probably the hardest part. So I can talk about lots of dumb shit that no one cares about. It's about talking about dumb shit that people think is funny. That's difficult. Anyway, I did gain a follower, so I'm I'm in the positive. I'm in the green. Except for the little green square down here that tells me about my stream health, because that hasn't been green all stream. Thanks for showing up.